All right, simplifying and evaluating algebraic expressions. We have a couple vocabulary terms that I want you to take note of. The first being order of operations, and that's what we use in order to simplify and evaluate algebraic expressions. And most of you guys are familiar with PEMDAS. And just in case you forgot, the P stands for the parentheses, and that's what you're going to try to do first. Anytime you see parentheses, try to do that first. And then comes exponents, and then comes multiplication and division, and these go left to right. So it's not necessarily that multiplication always comes before division. It's just however you read it left to right, that comes, whatever comes first, that's what you do. And same thing with addition and subtraction. You read it left to right, and that's what you can do first. So what I want to do with order of operations is I want to give you some examples with, I'm going to give you some expressions, and I want to show you guys the common mistakes that I see, and then we'll talk about why those are wrong, and then hopefully you guys can come up with the correct answers. Okay, so like the first one is 1 plus 6 times 7. The most common mistake I see is that people think that the answer is 49. So I want you to think for a second, why is that one incorrect? Well, the reason why it's wrong is those people just read it left to right, and they just did addition before they could do before they did multiplication. So for instance, that person said 1 plus 6, they said was 7, and then 7 times 7 is 49, which sounds right. I mean, we've been reading left to right pretty much our entire lives, I think. So I get it. I understand why you think it's 49. However, according to the order of operations, you have to do multiplication first. So if you did multiplication first, that would be the 6 times 7, in which case that's 42. And now when you do 1 plus 42, the correct answer is really 43. So make sure you're doing multiplication and division before addition and subtraction. So another mistake, let's do 3 times the quantity of negative 4 plus 6 times 2. Sometimes people think that the correct answer is 96, and they're wrong. What these people do is they're like, oh, parentheses, I'm going to distribute. And I love it when you guys distribute. That's awesome. But they distribute incorrectly. When you're distributing to each term. This person who got 96 distributed to each number that they saw and not each term. Here's a term and here's a term. These two things are one thing. The 6 and the 2 are being multiplied, so they're one thing. So if you distribute it incorrectly, you'll get 96. Again, if you wanted to, here, let me show you why. Negative 4 plus 6 times 2. If you didn't want to distribute right away and you wanted to use the order of operations, so that means we have to do inside the parentheses first. And if you did it inside the parentheses first, you would have to either do, I see a subtraction sign, and you see we're really subtracting the 4, or we have 6 times 2. We've got to do the multiplication first. So 6 times 2 is 12. So now inside the parentheses, we have negative 4 plus 12. Again, I still need my parentheses because I have 2 terms, and I'm going to multiply that quantity by 3. So again, this is just subtraction. 12 minus 4 is 8. And now that I only have one term, that 8, I can multiply it by the 3. And I don't need a parentheses, so it's 24. If I wanted to stop right here and then distribute, I've simplified all of my terms. And again, I can do it that way too. So 3 times negative 4 is negative 12. 3 times 12 is 36, and then when I subtract them, I'm going to get 24 as well. So 24 is the correct answer, not 96. Again, that's a huge difference. So if you're distributing, make sure you're distributing to the correct terms. Okay, another common mistake I see, and it's easy to make this mistake, is you'll see something like this, and you'll think that the correct answer is, I see anywhere from 9. I also see negative 6. Negative 6, that person just doesn't understand the exponents correctly. Oops, let me erase some of this, sorry. If you need that, sorry, go ahead and go back to it. Wow! What did I do? Sorry. No, wait, stop. Okay, so the negative 6, again, they just don't know, don't have a clear idea of exponents, and they think it's negative 3 times 2. But we know exponents really means we're multiplying this number by itself. So the people who think 9, they're thinking we're multiplying negative 3 times itself 2 times and getting 9. However, that would be correct if I said it was the quantity of negative 3 squared. However, that negative sign, if you want to, you can think of it as a -1 being multiplied by a 3 squared. Now, if we did an order of operations, exponents come first. So we've got to do 3 squared first, and that would be 9. And then -1 times 9 is going to be -9. So the correct answer for this is -9. Again, if you wanted a +9, you'd have to put parentheses around the -3. Okay, and then the last one is some students still struggle with positive and negative integers. Last example. Let's see, for example, let's say I have -5 plus 20 minus 8 plus 2. Some people think that the answer is 21, and some people think that the answer is 9. Not the case. What I find easiest when I have a bunch of integers that I'm adding and subtracting, I like to combine the negative numbers and the positive numbers. So -5 and -8, like terms, you're going to add, right? So -5 and -8, that's really a -13. And then the 20 and the 22, those add up. That's easy. It's 22. And now I have a +22 and a -13. This is just subtraction. And so that answer is going to be +9. Oh, wait. Wait, what did I do? Oh, wait. Wait, which ones are bigger? The 20, the positive. I think most people think it might be -9. Yeah. Okay. So the people who got 21, they just sometimes they think that I get a little confused with what they do. I think sometimes they think that this is like -25, and then I'm not really sure what they do. I'm sorry. 9 is the correct answer. And one thing that I think is easiest to do, it's a little cumbersome, is like, okay, -5, how many negative signs do I have? 5. Okay, how many positive signs do I have? 20. Okay. How many negative signs do I have? 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then 20, the 20 positive signs. And a positive and a negative sign cancel out. Da, da, da. I'm a little too lazy for that. Sorry. I just add up the negative numbers and then add up the positive numbers and then subtract. So same signs, add, different signs, subtract. Okay, then the last thing we're going to get to is evaluating. And like I said, the title has an expression, and some people don't know what an expression is. An expression is anything with no equal sign. So sometimes we have variables, sometimes we have numbers. And when I say evaluate, I have to tell you what I have to already tell you what, for instance, the variable is. Like, let's say I'm going to tell you what x equals. I'm going to say it equals 2. And then I'm going to give you an expression. So an expression, for instance, is like something like 3x minus 4. And if I say evaluate this expression, well, there's no equal sign, so there's nothing I can do right now. There's nothing else I can do to tell you what x is. So I have to, when I want you to evaluate, I have to tell you what x equals, and then all you have to do is plug it in. When you're plugging in, so you're going to plug in to basically solve for the expression. And when you plug in, I would like you to get in the habit of putting parentheses around it. So in this case, it would be 3 parentheses 2 minus 4, which just means to multiply, and then you would get that your answer is 2, which is kind of coincidental. That does not always happen. But that's basically what evaluating is, and we're going to be doing more difficult, complex expressions in class.